Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula, your favorite satanic streamer.
And today, finally, after years and years of having these movies requested in my comment section, Count Jackula and I are going to talk about the HELL HOUSE LLC Trilogy. That's right, all three movies. HELL HOUSE LLC, HELL HOUSE LLC 2, The Abaddon Hotel, HELL HOUSE LLC 3, Lake of Fire. And we're going to talk about them all in one big swoop because we binged them all in one night and we were like, fuck it, let's vlog it because goddamn did we enjoy these movies.
Yeah. At first it looked like these movies were going to be like total bullshit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's like, hey, it's a found footage movie in a haunted house made in 2016. Oh, God. And so we kind of ignored it because, like, yeah.
We were a little found footaged out, even though I like found footage movies.
Yeah, me too.
We did reach a market saturation point in which I was kind of like, it was less of a selling point for me and more of one of those like, oh, great, I gotta go to watch another one of these again, especially given how many bad ones I had watched in a row around the time this came out.
Yeah, because they were so easy to make, there are a ton of really bad found footage movies.
But one thing I didn't know going into this movie is that it's less found footage, though it is found footage. It's actually more of like pseudo documentary, like one of those TV channels, like Forensic Files, like a pseudo version of one of those.
Yeah. There is a found footage element, but the idea is that someone found the footage and then made a documentary about it.
Yeah, so there's like, they're cutting to interviews in between showing us the footage that was found and stuff, which gives it a more unique flavor. It's kind of like the Poughkeepsie tapes, but done way better.
Oh yeah, it's way better than the Poughkeepsie tapes.
Which was a movie that, oh man, that disappointed me.
Yeah. It's got one great moment, but the rest of it is such a fucking bore.
Well, the thing that this succeeds where Poughkeepsie tapes doesn't is that you are, especially with the first movie, so 100% immersed into the mythology that they're giving you.
Yeah.
As the movies go on, they get a little bit more fantastical and a little bit more over the top, but you get so engaged in the mythology and the plot of them that doesn't matter as much by the time you get to movie 3.
Yeah. One of the good things is that they tell you, this is one of those movies that tells you in the beginning what is going to happen at the end.
Yes, it does. And yet somehow you're still shocked by things.
Yeah. You're still constantly surprised.
Like what these movies feel like to me is they're like watching an urban legend being born over the course of the 3 movies.
Oh yeah.
It's like creepypasta meets Hellraiser at times.
Yeah. It's really good.
With a little bit of H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of movies that are kind of inspired by H.H. Holmes lately.
And we still have The Devil in the White City.
Yeah, we even haven't actually watched the one that's actually about
That's
him.
still going to come out, the Scorsese one. Which I don't know if that's a miniseries or if that's just a movie, but that's going to come out.
Well, we'll figure it out. We'll see that.
But yeah, another H.H. Holmes inspired trilogy. I don't know how many trilogies there are, but movies.
Yeah, so the basic setup is this. A bunch of guys who run a haunted house every year, and they have a company, HELL HOUSE LLC.
Yep, hence the name.
Have decided to move into the country because they usually do it closer to New York City.
Yeah, so they're doing it more in rural New England now.
Yeah, so about 40 minutes outside Manhattan in New York State.
This place called Abaddon.
Yeah, in a town called Abaddon, there's this like hotel where there was apparently a bizarre group of mysterious disappearances. And so
now here's the thing. The characters don't know this going in.
No.
Well, one of them does, but you find that out over the course of the movies. But
yeah,
from the get-go, they don't know going in. This is something you learn as the movie goes on.
Yeah, like to them, it's just like, oh, there's like this old fucking hotel in a rural area that nobody goes to that we can get for a song, so let's build the haunted house there and, we'll do something different this year.
Yep.
And those are definitely the parts of the movie that I identified with the most.
Oh yeah. I was sitting there when they were scoping out the place and like going like, oh man, we could do this here. Oh, how we can get lights here? Like, oh man, is there asbestos in the walls?
Yeah,
like, that whole sequence. I was sitting there going like, oh man, this is me and Jack planning anything.
Yeah,
planning any shoot. This is me and Jack scoping out a location.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, what about over here? Oh, that's a good idea, man.
Even some of the pranks they play on each other felt like me and Jack.
Oh yeah. Oh geez. But yeah, like it's so you get to know this group of friends, and unlike a lot of other found footage movies where it's like, oh, people don't trust each other. Like, these people pretty much do because they've been working together for ages.
Yeah. They've been a unit for a long time, at least like a decade by the time the movie has started, doing the Hell House stuff or just being childhood friends.
Yeah. And the plot is obviously there's something up with the house.
Shit goes horribly wrong, and the entire first movie is all about recounting what happened and figuring out what went wrong. And the second movie then expands beyond that. But we'll get to those when we start talking about spoilers, because it's hard to talk about the second movies without talking about spoilers for the first.
Yeah, because each movie builds on the previous ones.
But what I can say is I can, because people are going to ask in the comment section, how would I rank these movies? For me, first one's probably the best in my opinion. I would probably put the third one right underneath it because of just how buck wild that third one gets.
Yeah, the third one goes really crazy.
The second one I like, and I like it a lot, but I think it's the clunkiest of the three.
Yeah.
I think it's the one where you can see the most seams in the found footage facade.
Yeah, well, it's the one that was a premise that was the closest to a found footage movie that you've already watched.
Yes.
Whereas the other two, the first and the third one, are very different.
It also, I felt like, had the most telegraphed cuts.
It does.
Like all three movies have points in which characters like point cameras at their chests or point it into the darkness and then there's a cut or whatever. But in the first and third movie, I feel like they're hidden a little bit better. Whereas in the second movie, I noticed every single one on the first watch.
Yeah. Because the second one is also the one with the most contrived plot.
There's like one opening dialogue exchange in the second one where it felt like a scripted dialogue sequence.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
And so like the second one for me lands number 3 because of that. But that being said, as a trilogy package, it's worth watching all three at once.
They're all really good.
Because they all have great stuff. You get invested in the characters in all three of them. And all three of them have good scares. Now, mind you, me and Jack are pretty desensitized to this kind of stuff.
Yep.
But we watched it with my girlfriend and with his wife. And when I watched it with your wife, Linda, the first time around I watched it, like, she was jumping the entire time. And when we watched it with Lizzie, my girlfriend, she was freaking out.
Oh yeah, she was
freaking the fuck out the entire time. You know, which just kind of showed how desensitized we were, because most of those stuff was just making us laugh. We're like, oh man, but like not like laughing at the movie, but like laughing in the ghoulish sense.
Oh man, that guy's gonna die.
You know? Like, oh man, that was a good scare.
Oh man,
but like
the one of the things that holds that I what would you say is a through line throughout the whole thing is one clown mannequin.
Oh man, yeah, that appears in all three, and goddamn, that thing does not stop being scary.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Even as it expands what it can do from movie to movie.
Yeah.
It still gets scarier and scarier. Like that mannequin could totally have gone like the Weeping Angels route and be not scary by the second time you see it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
They kept it going.
They kept it going even as it did more shit.
Yeah, to the point where it's really like the iconic bit of this series.
Oh yeah, it's like the iconic image is that messed up clown face.
Yeah. Oh my god.
One thing I really like about these movies is that they're obviously low budget movies, and they feel like little engines that could.
Oh yeah.
They feel like these little movies that are trying to build this elaborate mythology, and like at any point it feels like it could fall apart and like collapse in on itself, but it never does.
Never does. Yeah.
It just keeps going. And so like when watching them 1, 2, and 3 all in a row, I felt like I was rooting for the filmmakers to succeed and stick the landing.
Yeah. Which they do.
They do.
They do. They totally stick the landing. And one of the things that's so great about it is it's these are movies that you can watch more than once.
Absolutely. And like because I watched it once and then I watched it a second time when we were showing Jack and Lizzie it, and I was noticing all the details that make the whole trilogy come together. Stuff in the first movie that I had forgotten by the time I watched the third movie because they were just small little details that you easily forget. And like noticing how like these things link together and lead into the conclusion in the third movie.
Yep.
In like a very organic way, to the point where I'm like, I don't know if you planned it all from the get-go, like all three movies, but you definitely found a way to like at least after the fact to make it all work.
They clearly, by the time they had finished the movie, they clearly knew themselves what had happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they could build on it in the next.
Absolutely, and they did a great job with that. Even as the series gets more over the top and has more elaborate special effects, it never falls apart.
Yeah. And despite the fact that it's basically it uses the same plot structure every time, which is basically people come to house, they fix it up, they put on a show, people die.
Yeah.
You know, those are the beats.
Absolutely.
But they keep finding, I was amazed that they kept finding ways to do it in the same location.
Yes. Well, that's one thing.
That was incredible.
Like, I don't know if they shot it on a specific location or if they built an elaborate set and just had an exterior on location. But whatever they were using, the big star of this trilogy is the hotel itself.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this labyrinthian fucking, like mind fuck of a place.
Yeah. It's like a house that's built like a Halloween maze.
So like no matter how many times they go through the house, I never quite get a grasp of the actual geography of it because it almost feels like the house is changing every time they do it.
Yeah. but it doesn't.
It doesn't. It's like
it has
the
a
same
consistent
rooms.
layout.
Even when they change up what the rooms look like because different people move in and try to do different things with it, it's still like, oh, you recognize that room from the first one.
Yep.
It just, now it has white walls.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I liked how it was like, you're like, okay, you go through the front area and then here, then through the kitchen, and there's this dining area. And then if you turn right, it goes to the basement. If you turn left, it goes into this other area. But like, unless you're really paying attention, it's hard to get a full grasp.
I would love to see a fan like go through the movie and actually map out what this house looks like.
Oh man, yeah.
I would love to see someone actually draw a map of it.
Yeah. And like I said, I was amazed that they were able to keep everything scary and fresh, despite the fact that it's 3 movies in the same location each time.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, it was really impressive.
And sometimes they'll even have similar scares, but they'll do something slightly different with it, and that slightly different is just enough to make it scary again.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. You know, like, and they knew how to make sure that you knew where we were in every scene.
Absolutely.
You know, so that if you wanted to figure out, like, how the house was built, you could.
Absolutely.
You know, because when supernatural shit happens to the layout of the house, it's very obvious.
Oh, yeah, and it happens sometimes.
Yeah. This is one of those, like, oh, okay, like, that's a supernatural thing that fucking...
Like, how many times they'll walk into a room and then, like, look over to the side and then look back and something's there.
Yeah.
Something's moved.
Yep. Well, it's a lot of, like, because it is actually, the movie itself is actually built like a haunted house, which is the best scares of a haunted house are not the obvious shit. The obvious shit is to grab your attention while the subtle thing happens in your peripheral vision. And
they do that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really
I also
good.
like if you rewatch the movies a second time, since you've already know what's going to happen, it gives you a lot more time to like look in the background and stuff and see things that they placed there that wasn't directly called attention to. Yeah. Because I noticed that when I watched it the second time, there's like ghosts all throughout the place that they never call attention to.
Yeah. Like if you're watching a scene and you're like, well, this doesn't seem to have anything supernatural in it, chances are you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the people who made this movie actually worked at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that reminded me of it.
Yeah. Because it was so well done.
So I highly recommend this trilogy, and I highly recommend watching it 1, 2, 3. Just watching it all in a row, even if you do it one night and then another night and another night. Because
watch them in a row. Yeah.
One of the other things is that some of the flaws of each movie is kind of fixed by the next movie. Like, it does a great job of going like, shit, we didn't really explain that very well in the last movie. So let's make sure we make it clear in this movie.
Yeah. There's a major plot point that happens in the first movie where you're like, but you're like, whoa, wait, what was that? And by the second movie, you understand not only what it is, but why it wasn't clear.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really appreciated that because, like, it was my first criticism of that first movie, and then I watched the second one. I'm like, oh, they actually addressed this. All right, good on you, sequel.
Yeah.
Improving the movie before you, as opposed to shitting the movie before you.
Yeah. It was really nice because most of the things that are secrets that get revealed in the next one are, things that are unclear that get solved by the next movie are generally things that people would not have recorded.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Because, it's one of those, like, all right, like, because all you know is that they have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because someone's like, hey, what are they talking about over there? Like, whoa, what the fuck are you talking about? And you're like, whoa, what was that? And you see the aftermath. And if you can figure it out, you're probably going to be right. But it was good that they clarified it.
Yeah, I appreciated that they clarified it because it felt like it was one of those, like, strings that you should.
Yeah, it was a loose end.
A loose end that you should, like, close. But anyway, highly recommend these movies. They are all currently available on Shudder. In fact, I think the second and third one are Shudder exclusives.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch the whole trilogy, then subscribe to Shudder. And if you already have Shudder, then go and check these movies out because they are a blast. They are found footage movies that 100% work. And even if you're not a fan of found footage movies, which neither of our significant others are,
yeah,
you might still like it because they did.
Yeah. Yeah, this is right up there with, like, Affliction, as in terms of, like, quality of found footage film.
So with that all said, if you aren't already on board with the movies based on what we said here, we're about to go into the spoilers, so maybe some of these details will entice you instead. So here are the spoilers.
So maybe the first way to explain it, starting slowly, is by using the line from, what was it, 1380? Was it 1382? It's an evil fucking room.
Yes, 1408.
1408. Thank you, 1408.
Yeah, it's an evil fucking hotel. Over the course of the movies, I love this mythology building because in the first movie, all you basically know is that, okay, so they went into the house, they built some sort of haunted house, something went wrong on opening night, people ended up missing or dead. All right. That's what you know. And as the movie goes on, you find out that, oh shit, the hotel was owned by this guy named Andrew Tully, and that Andrew Tully in the 80s had a satanic cult at the height of the satanic panic.
Yeah. Or at least was rumored to.
And that people went missing in his hotel under his reign, ultimately leading up to him killing himself and hanging himself in the kitchen room. Yep. Or not the kitchen room, but the dining room. And that some of the ghosts that they have been seeing throughout the movie may have been some of those missing guests.
Yeah. They're either missing guests or, like, cultists.
Also, when they first initially go into the hotel, they find, like, Bibles and satanic, like, pentagrams and shit in the basement that they did not do. At first, you think that they set that up.
Yeah.
But then later on in the movie, one of the guys clarifies, like, oh, no, that was there when we got here.
Yeah.
Which is making it creepier and creepier as the movie goes on.
Yeah. And the centerpiece of the scares is that they're like, oh man, all right, it's what we're going to do. We have 3 evil clowns right over here.
But it's a plot point that the clowns' heads can't turn. Yeah. So they have to set them up in a certain way so that they can all look at people when they come through the door. But as the movie goes on, the clowns' heads start moving.
Yeah, and sometimes they walk around.
Mm-hmm.
And because no one has any idea that, like, anything could be going wrong, they're all like, yo, Josh, stop fucking around,
It starts off with small stuff, like shadowy figures at night that they think are one of their friends sleepwalking. The clown being put in the basement, but then them waking up and it being in the hallway.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. And then slowly escalates to the point where there's literally like a ghost standing over their bed. Like, it's just like...
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of paranormal activity-esque, but like it escalates and goes a lot farther than the first few paranormal.
Yeah. Well, anyway. But one of the things that really makes this one stand out is that the ghosts are filmable.
Yes. The ghosts are 100% filmable.
They are capturable on film, and it turns out that's part of the plot.
Oh yeah. If you've seen the Grave Encounters movies, this trilogy has a similar through line that it's like the hotel itself wants to be filmed. Like it wants its images to go out there and be an urban legend so that more people are enticed to come and check it out.
Yeah, exactly.
It wants more guests.
Yeah.
What's funny about that is that there's not a lot of room for guests in this hotel. It's a tiny hotel.
It's a very small hotel, you know. Whatever.
So, yeah, so basically, shit goes wrong. Weird hooded figures start appearing on opening night and killing people and slaughtering them and dragging them into the basement. To what end, we do not know.
Yeah, in the first movie, there's a big mystery as to what happened in the basement that caused the panic, that caused everything to go wrong on opening night.
And like the movie basically ends with the documentary crew that are making the documentary on the mystery going inside the house, finding out that one of the survivors was actually a ghost. Inside the house. Yeah. And that they end up getting taken by the house too. And then the movie ends. And you're like, well, how did we see that footage if they were taken into the house and the camera was just left there? Well, that's for the second movie to answer.
Yep.
Because the second movie is all about the editor from the film crew who was stayed behind going over the footage they had uncovered on the house. And he put together the documentary after they disappeared.
Yep.
Because the footage ended up on his doorstep.
It mysteriously arrived.
So he put it together in memory of the documentarian that he was friends with, and low-key implied probably had feelings for.
Yeah. If they may have been in a relationship, it's not.
I kind of got like a little bit of that impression, but I might have just been reading too much into things. But
no, I don't think so. I think there was definitely implied that there was some sort of I really care about this person as more than just like a boss.
So you have the second movie, which is about him who's like, I am never setting foot in that goddamn house. But then, of course, a mystery of a Vice-like internet documentarian show comes to him and basically just like, we want to go inside that house and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, well, we want to do this. And so basically it becomes like, well, if I don't go with them, they might not make it out alive because I know the layout of the house.
Right. And also they find out that apparently within the house are tapes that were done by the original creator of the hotel, Andrew Tully.
The Andrew Tully Abaddon tapes.
Yep. And so they're like, hey, we think we know where these are because you remember in the first movie how there's this freezer next to in the basement. They talk about putting all these tapes in the basement. So let's go get them.
So this becomes like really interesting because the second one is called The Abaddon Hotel. That's the subtitle of the movie. And the reason why it's called that is because we go way more into the mythology of the hotel itself in the second one.
Yeah.
We learn way more about Andrew Tully's past. Like apparently he didn't just kill himself in the hotel, that he actually had a suicide pact with a cult that all died in that dining room and that the town covered this up.
Yep.
Because they didn't want anyone to know about it. They also covered up all the people that disappeared, because Andrew Tully had his hands and everything.
Yep.
We also find out that some mysterious benefactor, convinced Alex to do a terrible bet that cost him all the company's.
Yeah. From the first movie, the reason they're at this hotel is because Alex from the first movie, who's the owner of HELL HOUSE LLC, loses money on like a bet or stock market gamble that was based on something that this dude had told him. And it turns out that dude was Andrew Tully.
Yep. So it turns out Andrew Tully has appeared as a ghost and basically convinced him to start HELL HOUSE because it was part of his plan as the grand opening of the hotel, and he's going to get more guests. But by more guests, he means more people dragged to hell.
Yep.
Dragged into the Lake of Fire, which, as you may have noted, is the name of the third one.
Yeah. And they say Lake of Fire a lot in the second movie.
Oh, God, yeah. This is when it starts to transition into something a little bit more Hellraiser-like, because Andrew Tully becomes a character in this one, and he fucking has, like, Pinhead-like monologues up the ass. Like,
yeah. Definitely.
It starts to get a little bit more over the top, a little bit more normal movie-like, but I don't mind it at this point because I feel like as the mythology gets crazier, I don't mind the movie being a little crazier.
Yeah. We actually watch a gate of hell open.
It turns out in the basement, what was actually happening in the basement in the first movie that was freaking everyone out and making everyone run out of the basement is that there's a literal gate to hell in the basement. And when it opens up, it just, like, demons come out and grab people and drag them back in.
Yep.
Which is what caused the entire backup in the first movie when people were going through the initial opening.
Yeah.
And then people started running out of the basement and trying to get out. That's what happened. So this movie essentially culminates in us realizing that Andrew Tully has orchestrated everything from the HELL HOUSE LLC, starting the HELL HOUSE there, to the original documentarian crew from the first movie being taken at the end of that movie, to Mitchell, the editor from the first movie, now the main character in the second movie, and his crew showing up there along with their crazy, ridiculous TV psychic guy.
Yeah. He does not last long.
He doesn't last long, no. He even pulls out a Ouija board, and I'm like, oh, no, you're fucked, man.
Yeah. No, we're done.
Well, not a Ouija board, but one of those Ouija
the planchette.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, you're fucked, man. You don't play with that shit in this house. That's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
Ultimately culminating in it being revealed that Andrew Tully is basically doing everything to lure people into the house so he can get more souls, essentially, for the Lake of Fire. To what end? Well, that's going to lead us into the next movie. But it basically culminates in forcing Mitchell to make a choice of who gets to leave the hotel and spread the word of the hotel.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell you what decision is made there, but I will tell you that there's a lot of twists. Yeah. So that leads us into the next movie. And you're wondering, okay, well, how did the footage from the second movie end up? How did we watch that? Well, at the beginning of the second movie, they established that all the footage belongs to someone named Russell Wynn and his media group. And he happens to be one of the main characters of the third movie.
Yep.
He turns out to be this billionaire winemaker guy who basically has been obsessed with the Abaddon Hotel for years and has been collecting all the footage and stuff that has been found by it, and has decided to open up his latest, what do you call it, art project? It's like a...
Yeah. It's like an interactive play.
Yeah. It's like, imagine like a horror haunt, but instead of a haunt, it's a play that you're watching from room to room. And he's decided to open up his new play called Insomnia. The production company's called Insomnia, so it's an Insomnia play, but it's of the Faust story.
Yeah.
Of the Faustian deal and all that stuff. That entire movie is all about trying to figure out what the deal with Russell Wynn is. We kind of know everything that there is to know about the Abaddon Hotel. We do learn that there is more incidents than just what happened in the first and second movies, that there's been apparently before the first movie even happened, there were people who went missing in the cornfield behind the house. We learned some more stuff about how...
the hotel has been consistently taking people.
For a long time. We also... But most of the focus is on Russell and, like, why is he obsessed with this hotel? Why did his obsession seem to start around 2008, in which he got into a car accident, which happened to be the year before the opening of HELL HOUSE?
Yep.
And, like, what's his connection to all this? Now, I'm going to put a second spoiler warning here. And the reason why I'm going to put a second spoiler warning here is because we're about to spoil the ending of the trilogy and the ultimate culmination of everything. So if by now you haven't seen these movies and some of the things we've told you have made you want to go watch them 1, 2, and 3, stop right here, go watch the movies, and then come back. Because we're about to go into the deal with Russell Wynn and the ultimate culmination of the story. So let's spoil it. Okay. So, over the course of the third movie, we established that Russell Wynn, he is a winemaker. He is friends with some priests that apparently he's been making some weird deals with his money with behind the scenes, and we're not sure what that's all about. He's been obsessed with the hotel ever since he nearly died in 2008. And the footage is uncovered over the course of the movie, revealing that he was there for almost everything that's happened since the first movie. Behind the scenes. So basically what this culminates into is that he puts on his play, and there's a whole lot of details from the third movie we're not going to go into because just watch the movies.
Yeah.
He puts on the play, and all hell breaks loose. Literally, the gate opens up again, all the dark figures start showing up and killing all the guests. Blood splatter everywhere, all that stuff. But then we're following Russell, and Russell... he gets some like mysterious stuff from like that he was given to by the priest. He goes into the attic and confronts Andrew Tully.
Andrew Tully, yeah.
And Andrew Tully makes it sound like he was making some sort of deal with him, and that this was something that they had planned for a long time. But it seems like Wynn is hiding something.
Yeah.
And this culminates in the main character of that movie being dragged into the basement and having her throat cut. And then Wynn showing up, confronting Tully, and them battling in the fucking basement.
Yeah.
Leading to the entire hotel burning down and collapsing in on itself. And all the main characters of the third movie waking up in the cornfield alive.
Yeah.
After having died.
Everyone who has died as a result of the third movie comes back to life.
And basically what we discover at the end of this movie is that Russell Wynn, when he died, made some sort of deal with heaven that allowed an angel into him so that the angel can close the gate, because as the movies have established, the gate to hell can not be closed by a man. It has to be closed by an angel.
Yeah.
Now that sounds dumb, but it works.
It worked amazingly, because the entire time you're like, oh God, he's like, this guy's like Satan.
I love this twist because the entire movie you're thinking he's Faust.
Yeah.
You're thinking that he's making a deal with the devil, that he's that he's sold his soul, and that he's tortured, and that he's like trying to make amends before all hell breaks loose, and he's trying to do all this stuff. And then you get to the end of the movie that this is actually him trying to save everything and close the gate, which he successfully does. But what's great about this is that the movie throws this in your face the entire time, and you don't notice.
It does.
First off, he's a winemaker.
Winemaker.
Second off, he nearly died once. Third off, there's a point in which they have their final dinner, their last supper, if you will, before the opening of Insomnia, and he walks into the room and sits in the center of their table and gives them bread to eat.
Yeah. Or like he orders bread, and then everyone just takes it. And he's like, hey, that's mine. Fine, whatever.
Even the scar on his face looks like a cross. Like,
yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, and he's just sort of like...
And it turns out he was talking to that priest because he was planning on liquidating his entire fortune and giving it to the needy.
yeah, because, Russell Wynn's gone.
Yep.
He's actually gone, and once the Angel's done his deal, he's just gonna fuck off back to the underworld or whatever.
And we even get a really cool postscript where we basically get to see all the main characters from the first movie and Russell Wynn in what I'm assuming is purgatory.
Yeah.
That the gate's been closed, they're all out of hell, and now they're in purgatory, but they're in purgatory together, so they're not alone.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there wondering, is like, well, how the fuck did we see that? Well, apparently Russell Wynn recorded that and left the fucking footage in his hotel at the end of the movie.
Yeah. And Shudder teases the Abaddon tapes, which is apparently a miniseries that they might make based on Hell House LLC.
I'm assuming since it's called the Abaddon tapes, it's going to be a prequel with Andrew Tully's tapes, which I'm totally down for if they do that.
Yeah,
but
or if they can somehow continue the story, still filming things in purgatory.
Because at this point, I'm invested because I just love watching this mythology build, this lore build. It's like watching this urban legend expand.
Yeah. It's like watching the original 3 Paranormal Activity movies.
Yes, absolutely, which I love. I love those movies. I love that everything comes together. I didn't notice it until the second movie that Russell Wynn's name is actually listed on this coming guest list.
I know. Yeah, I noticed that
in the second movie. Yeah. So that leads into the next movie. There's a lot of really cool little references in the first movie that lead into revelations in the third and second movie. And these movies
really well constructed.
It's low budget. It shows its budget time and time again, but it makes everything work. And I love the imagination that went into these movies.
Oh yeah.
And
clearly.
These feel like the kind of movies that a bunch of friends got together to make, and they slowly became this big thing. And they managed to not let it becoming a big thing allow it to collapse in on itself. They managed to keep the course going.
Yeah, they managed to keep the movie on track.
And I applaud them, and made these spooky little haunted house flicks. Like, fucking bravo.
Definitely,
fucking vo. And I highly recommend them. So again, if you have Shudder, then check them out on Shudder. If you do not have Shudder, I highly recommend you subscribe on Shudder. We are not sponsored by them. We are just really big fans.
Yep.
And with that all said, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me on Twitch TV, where I stream every Sunday at 6 p.m. Sorry. You can find me on Twitch TV, where I stream every Wednesday. Oh, sorry. Jesus fucking Christ, what is up with my fucking brain, man?
I'm a little out of it today, too. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, take 3. Beep. So you can find me on Twitch TV, where I stream Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and again on Sunday, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we do a live stream, and we talk about all kinds of groovy things. Talk about horror movies, talk about Satan, and spiritualism, and magic, and all sorts of weird kind of stuff, as well as modern mysteries, such as the female dick. What does it taste like?
I've heard that it has excellent mouthfeel.
That's what I am told that as well. I am told that as well. I have no direct experience with it, but like I love hearing about it. So if you want to hear about things like that, on top of a lot of other crazy crap, you should come on down and follow me on Twitch, Count_Jackula. And you can also find me on Twitter, once again, at Count_Jackula. And on Instagram, Satanic Jackula. See, last one changes. And
no underscore in that one.
No underscore in that one. Just Satanic Jackula. Bam, you got it. And I hope to see you there.
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru and Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. And if you haven't already, be sure to ring that notification bell so that you'll be notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you want to help out my channel more directly, then be sure to check out my Patreon page. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. But if you don't want to help out my channel, but you do want to help us out in some way, you can go into Jack's Patreon page. And again, even $1 a month, it can go a long way. So check out one or two of those pages, and if you want to give, help a brother out.
If you love content like this, we appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And if you have seen or are about to see the HELL HOUSE LLC Trilogy, be sure to comment below with your thoughts, because my God, have I gotten requests for this trilogy for a long ass time. And now that I've done it, y'all better come out and give me all your comments. You better support this video, because this has been a long time coming. And with that said, peace out, my fellow Gorehounds, and I'll catch y'all later. Yeah.